Latin nouns are divided into 5 distinct groups called declensions, based on how these nouns end and how these nouns change according to their grammar. We group these nouns into these declensions based on the ending of the genitive case. This video covers nouns of the third declension. We will discuss only masculine and feminine nouns here. Since we use the genitive case to determine to which declension a noun belongs, you will always see a noun listed with its nominative subject form, and this will be followed by its genitive form, the of form of the noun. Third declension nouns always end in an is in their genitive singular, and this is will tell you that a noun is in the third declension. The endings for the third declension are blank, which means, it is what it is, and there's no real pattern for this nominative singular. Is, e, e, and in the plural, eis, ibus, eis, ibus. The blank in the nominative singular seems to always cause problems. The third declension nouns don't always end the same way, like how first declension nouns always seem to end in an A, or seconds in a US or R. So nouns in the third declension can end in an A, E, long I, long O, Y, C, L, N, R, S, T, or X. So, roughly half the alphabet. And that's why we put a blank for the nominative singular. So let's decline. We'll take our noun princeps, principes, and use the fact that the first form, princeps, is the nominative singular, and the second form, principes, is the genitive singular. Then we look at principes and remove the ending is. So PR, long I, NCIP is the stem. And notice that it's slightly different from the nominative singular. No matter. The nominative is what it is, and we still use the genitive to add our endings to. E, M, E, and in the plural, eis, ibus, eis, ibus. Now that we have the full declension, it helps to add translations. The chief, or a chief, since Latin doesn't differentiate between the chief, a chief, or even just chief. Of the chief, to for the chief as the object of a verb, and the ablative by, with, from, in, on the chief. The plurals go likewise. There aren't too many identical forms in the third declension, which is good. In fact, the third declension endings are unique in the singular, and the nominative and accusative are identical in the plural, along with our usual identical dative and ablative plurals. The fact that both the nominative and accusative plural end in a long es, though, can be confusing, since, by definition, one does the action and the other receives it. So in a sentence like this, gladiatores leones necant. Did the gladiators kill the lion, or did the lions kill the gladiators? That would be a huge problem, even for a native Latin speaker, if there weren't some sort of expectation and rules about word order. So okay, you're thinking right now, word order in Latin doesn't matter like it does in English. If we have a sentence like this, puer puellam amat, the boy loves the girl, we can technically rearrange the words in all sorts of orders, and it still means the same thing. So, that's true. Puer puellam amat means the same thing as puellam puer amat, because puellam is obviously the accusative. It obviously receives the love. And puer is obviously a nominative, so it obviously performs the love. The emphasis in the sentence might be a little different, since Latin and English, by the way, always seems to put stress on the first word, but the meaning of the sentence is the same. But if we go back to our gladiator sentence, we have an issue. The ending of gladiatores is identical to that of leones, and neither is obviously accusative or nominative. So here, we, in the Romans, had to rely on their traditional word order. So the nominative, the doer of the verb, comes first, and the accusative, the receiver of the action, comes next. With gladiatores leones necant, it's evident from the word order that the gladiators are coming out on top. But if the lions should win, the sentence would have to change to leones gladiatores necant. There's more to third declension nouns than just this, but we'll save these topics for other tutorials. For now, just know that a majority of common third declension nouns that are masculine or feminine have these endings. We can even compare the endings to the first and second declensions, and we will come up with some strong patterns. It's not so much that you need to memorize each declension in isolation. You'll learn the patterns and how common themes repeat. Like, for instance, the accusative singular ending of an M, or in the plural, an S. The genitive plural for all words seems to end the same way, and the dative singulars always seem to end in a long vowel sound. These aren't coincidences. And your average Latin native speaker would know these patterns, maybe not explicitly, but subconsciously. So slide it into your subconscious and go native with Latin.